Hello, welcome to The Future is Sovereign. This is my weird podcast. Is it a podcast or is it a vlog? I'm not sure. Where I dive into different topics that are top of mind for me, whether that's communications, whether that's on the topic of sovereign influence, whether that's entrepreneurship, spiritual entrepreneurship, etc. And so the topic today that I feel really called to discuss, the title of this is called "The Medium is the Message: Channeling Your Truth for a Successful Business." And so there's so much to unpack here. The medium is the message. Let's start there. So the medium is the message is a fairly famous saying by Marshall McLuhan, who's a very famed Canadian. I think he's called a philosopher in some circles, but I know him as the father of communications. And if you're a communications nerd like myself, of course, you know who he is. If you're a Canadian, you probably remember the Canadian Heritage Moment where it was Marshall McLuhan and the medium is the message. So let's break this down because it has a spiritual side as well as a communication side. And I think the Marshall McLuhan, the man, was both. And I had no idea that's where my path would also take me. And when we're talking about truth and business success and the sovereign shift, my brand and what I'm here to do, the medium is the message. When I say that, I'm referring usually to platforms that we use. That's one aspect. When we look at the social media platforms that we all use right now to market, to connect, or to reach out to potential clients, to engage with clients, I find that the platforms that are currently mainstream, I'm talking about the Instas and the Facebooks and all that good stuff, X especially, not especially, but also they are they are all symptomatic of what I like to call the global digital empire that's been built by Silicon Valley and has tentacles throughout the globe. These particular platforms use black box algorithms to manipulate your perception, to engineer dependency, and also really foster distrust, not only in the mediums themselves, the platforms themselves, and the information that we receive on those platforms, but because they are unethical, it's very difficult to, even if your message is the most beautiful in the world and there's so much beautiful intent behind it. For me, because the medium is the message and the mediums on which we rely are coercive, manipulative by their very nature, the message for me is quite clear and that they are not sovereign platforms that honor the sovereignty of their users, aka the products. And so that's one aspect of the medium is the message for me. The other aspect of the medium is the message actually refers to myself, yourself as well. It's aligned with the concept of embodiment. And so what I mean by that is when you are totally embodied in your truth, you essentially become your message. And that kind of embodiment, that message harmony, can really only come when you found complete clarity, not only in your truth, who you are, your identity through the lens of service or entrepreneurship, which is a totally different awakening journey than the awakening journey of an individual who is not, at least they don't think yet that they're on the path of service or entrepreneurship kind of thing. And I think everyone can agree that anyone who has tried to start a business or has dabbled in entrepreneurship and that kind of thing, that it is its own awakening journey. 100%. Therapy, chaos, all in one. And it does require a different approach when it comes to identity work. At least that's what I've found. And so when we're fully embodied in our message as entrepreneurs, as service providers, it means that we are so in touch with our most authentic selves through the lens of service, that the clarity of our audience, who we're supposed to reach, who we're supposed to serve, is unequivocal. It's your mirror. essentially. There are so many different versions of you that you could help. And that's true for everyone. We go through countless versions of ourselves across countless timelines throughout our life. And that's a really beautiful thing. But when we do the work to really uncover who we are through the lens of service on the path to entrepreneurship, where your mission has now evolved to such a degree that you are here to be a leader, a beacon that empowers others on their journey. So you reach back to help who you were, and in so doing, you help other souls that are on the same path, just a few steps behind. And so we've all accumulated traumas, limiting beliefs. And so it's about finding that one area that becomes your mission, your unique mission, right? Like I've struggled with alcohol. I've struggled with childhood trauma. I've struggled with so many different things like most people, but I'm not meant to help everybody in those realms. I was put here for a very specific purpose. And so the same is going to be true for you. So during this identity work where we're trying to figure out our truth, to become the medium that is the message, to find success in your business, that honestly, the best path is to do the identity work that's very unique to you, to uncover who you are as an entrepreneur through that lens of service, using what I call your unique service fingerprint, which becomes clear during this process. Your unique service fingerprint is the intersection of your past, your passions, and your proficiency, as well as your people. So all of those together formulates this really beautiful, unique signature that's just you are the unique puzzle piece that's so necessary in the giant image of this beautiful world, right? So you have your placement, you have your unique self that is meant to fulfill a specific purpose and lead specific people. What I found is that the identity work that we do will reveal our true mirror, right? When you look at your most authentic self in the mirror, who you're actually supposed to help. And so when we work on finding our unique service fingerprint, we naturally uncover our true audiences, our true audience, the true, most authentic individuals that we have come here to serve, to help. And when we have clarity on who we're actually here for, who we're serving, or to put it in more standard industry terms, either your ideal client avatar or your target audience segment, you're now able to use those messaging best practices that you probably have already worked with or accumulated and apply them finally. Because if you don't know who you're talking to, how do you know what you're going to say? Even if you have a vague idea of your audience, it's just not good enough, not in today's saturated market. And truly, it's not even really about the saturated market. It's about reaching your people on a frequency and speaking a language that they can resonate with. And so when you do this, you don't really have to use hypey influencer hacks or anything like that, because when you show up and you are speaking the language that your people are looking for, that creates what I like to call a resonant effect, right? And so you uncover your audience, of course, the message that's going to speak to them. And in so doing, when you do this deep identity work, you reveal also your point of view, which is so important. It's probably not the first time you've heard someone speak about it, but when I say point of view, your truth, I'm talking about your unique perspective, your truth, your slice of the truth pie. And truth itself is all encompassing. Truth is paradoxical because within truth lives all possibilities, all perspectives. And so when we take a slice of the truth pie, you are getting one perspective. It contains all of the truths in one, but it's one perspective of that truth. And so when you share your truth, your tiny slice of source truth pie, if it were, if you will, you're going to be polarizing. And that's a really tough thing for people to accept because generally speaking, and this comes up with my clients as well, when you're visible or when you're striving for visibility, there's a few different limiting beliefs that we need to integrate and release. And that's that either you're completely afraid of visibility and your nervous system is pushing it away, or two, you're completely afraid of not being liked by everyone or having a negative reaction online, which, let's be honest, you could put out a video about puppies and it's going to elicit some negative feedback. So there's a lot of deep work that's done alongside this work. You think it's just communications, right? Okay, so let's figure out our audience, our niche, our POV, our message, blah, 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 offer. Simple, right? It's throw some best practices at it. Take a look at Google, like how to write a message and you're done. That's the case. Because if you are struggling with visibility, what I mean by that is you've been doing this a long time or you're new to it. No one's paying attention. You're not earning what you think you should be, what you deserve to be earning. You're definitely not being seen by those who really probably could use your support, your help. You're not making the difference that you know in your heart you were put here to make. Impact. I hear these words all the time by people with way bigger platforms. Look, I don't have a platform, okay? This is a weird thing to take pride in, but I got my first high-ticket client with 0 audience. So what I'm talking about does work, even if you want to take a non-conventional approach to marketing communications like I do. I find social media to be completely dysregulating and unethical, and so I like to stay away from it. I like YouTube. I don't love it, but it's here with the long form. Anyway, I digress. So where was I? It's not just about plug and play communications. It's about understanding yourself so deeply to the degree that you now understand who you're supposed to be serving. I think a lot of people find that or don't see the connection between the two, but it's so intrinsic, especially if you're here to serve others as an entrepreneur, as a spiritual entrepreneur, service provider. And part of that process is also becoming regulated yourself, ensuring that your nervous system is in a place where not only can it seek out these limiting beliefs that are causing you to be disconnected from your people while doing the identity work to really understand yourself through this lens of service. And then we do the work of, okay, let's put the rest of the picture together. Okay. So that when you can step into that embodiment, you have the full picture now. You know yourself, you know your audience, you know exactly what to say to them. You know where your niche is, where you live. You have a point of view that's polarizing, because that's a good sign. You've got an offer now that's in alignment. And when you have all that, you are, oh my gosh, like you've laid the foundation for the next chapter, which is your visibility stack. Okay. So the actual tactics that you use in order to become discovered, to be seen, etc. And I am here to tell you that if you are feeling at all dysregulated as well by the current social media paradigm, the content creation friggin' hamster wheel and other bullshit that we have to, hurdles that we gotta jump over in order to just make a friggin' it's stupid. It's dumb. So many of these platforms have become just cesspools, echo chambers of advertisements constantly. It is, I guess, I'll just tell you how I really feel. If it wasn't clear already, but if that's not for you, it's okay. You're not alone. And there's so much better ways to get in front of your people than just social media alone. And social media is a long game anyway. I know it got the illusion behind it as, God, you could go viral and get all these followers, but are they really invested followers? Any platform that you need to bend yourself to fit into, do the things that you got to do to show up and contort yourself and dance. And you're an adult, for Christ's sake, right? If that doesn't feel good in your body, don't do it. Just let it go. And any influencer or hypey coach or visibility hacker that you come across that's telling you otherwise, just run. Remember, it's about what's supposed to resonate in your body. You have to protect your energy, your nervous system at all costs, because if you are not regulated, you are going to be subconsciously pushing away clients anyway. So why not start from a place of honoring your body, your nervous system, and honoring this journey? Again, the market is so saturated, but at the same time, people need support from service providers just like you now more than ever. Okay, so there's a place for you. There's a place for everyone. It's just that when everyone's using the same tactics and these all sound the same because they're all listening to the same advice and that kind of thing, it's like, is it any wonder we're struggling? Is it any wonder? And so I'll just bring it back now to why I started talking today, which is, again, it's called, if I could remember the title, it's about the medium being the message and channeling your truth for business success. And your truth is not a truth that's going to be shared by anybody else. That's what people need. They need your truth. Because when you're a mirror for what they're going through, now not only are you resonating, but they can see themselves on the other side of whatever struggle that they're going through. And that's going to build the kind of trust that you just can't manufacture. And in a world where all of these platforms, these mediums are selling authenticity, or they're selling fake authenticity disguised as authenticity, the one that's going to stand out is the person who's brave enough to go against the grain. And so I don't know if this little rant has been helpful, but I'm going to try to do these on a weekly basis because this is actually part of my visibility stack. I really enjoy going on camera. I am not wearing any makeup. Screw it. Maybe I will sometimes, but not today. And that's part of my own journey of healing as well, is getting over the perfectionism that seems to plague women, especially in our society. But I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining in this strange little vlog. Did I just date myself? Anyway, it doesn't matter. If you listened, if you tuned in, if it resonates, amazing. If you go to my website at thesovereignshift.ca, I have a bunch of freebies, but I'm also going to give a shout out to my signature program, which is just relaunched. It's called the Power Lift. And that it honestly aims to do all the things that we just talked about. So if you're a spiritual entrepreneur or service provider, you don't have to be spiritual. If you're a service provider and an entrepreneur and you're struggling with visibility, if nothing you seem to be doing is working for you and something is missing and it doesn't feel right, if you're what I like to call seasoned but stuck, or if you're early stage and want to build from a solid foundation of nervous system regulation and you want to make sure that you're not wasting time like I did, almost 2 years circling the drain, trying to figure out what the hell you were saying and to whom. I've been doing this for over 10 years. You'd think that I would have known better. But again, that's proof that the identity work is what makes the difference. And so if you want to learn more about my program and how to join and join the community as well, I have an online community for this as well. Please do check it out. I would love to see you there. I have a no discovery call rule. I know that's totally not in line with industry standards. But the thing is, I am a no pressure, only aligned decisions here gal. And I have poured everything onto the sales page. And so I leave the choice in your hands as to whether you feel a full body yes and want to come into my world and see the kind of difference and feel the kind of difference that this program can make. And so with that, thank you again. I can't wait to come back and rant some more about communications and spirituality, my favorite topic. Take care.